Hey, I'm Emma. Welcome to Revenge Pulse, where every story hits different. Hit subscribe and let's dive in. The courtroom had 47 people in it when my father's attorney accused me of fraud. I counted them while she spoke. 47 witnesses to what was supposed to be my humiliation. Your Honor, Attorney Morrison said, her voice carrying that practiced blend of concern and condemnation. Claire Bennett has fabricated an entire narrative to claim assets she has no legal right to. Her grandfather's estate was clearly divided. The Lighthouse property goes to his son, my client, Robert Bennett. This is a simple case of a granddaughter who feels entitled to more. Judge Catherine Walsh looked at me over her reading glasses. She was 60-something, stern-faced, with a reputation for not tolerating nonsense. Dad had specifically requested her, said she'd see through my act. Ms. Bennett, the judge said, you're representing yourself. That's your right, but I'll remind you that family court looks dimly on attempts to manipulate inheritance proceedings. Your grandfather's will was clear. I understand, Your Honor. Then, why are we here? I opened the folder I'd brought. Inside were 43 photographs, all of them taken by Grandpa in the last 6 months of his life. All of them developed in his darkroom at the Lighthouse. All of them meaningless to anyone who didn't know what to look for. Because the will wasn't the complete picture, I said quietly. Dad leaned forward from his seat behind Morrison. See, she's already trying to manipulate Mr. Bennett. Judge Walsh cut him off. You'll have your turn. Let your daughter speak. Dad's face went red. My stepmother Patricia touched his arm. My half-brother Marcus smirked from beside them. At 25, he'd always enjoyed watching me struggle. Your Honor, may I approach? You, mayúscula. I walked to the bench. Handed her the first photograph. It showed the lighthouse at sunset. Beautiful. Standard. The kind of photo Grandpa had taken 10,000 times, except for the date stamp in the corner, and the GPS coordinates, and the tiny inscription along the bottom edge in Grandpa's handwriting, Protocol Active. Judge Walsh studied it. It's a nice photograph, Ms. Bennett. But I don't see. Look at the bottom left corner, the Wather vein on the keeper's cottage. She pulled out her own reading glasses, squinted. It's pointing northwest. In August, during southern wind season, that weather vane has been broken for 3 years. Always points southeast, no matter the actual wind direction. I'm not following. He fixed it 1 week before he died, specifically for these photographs. Morrison stood. Your Honor, this is absurd. She's wasting the court's time with broken weather vanes. It's a code, I said. The words came out steady. .com. Like Grandpa had taught me. Grandpa was a naval intelligence officer for 32 years. He never stopped thinking like one. The courtroom went quiet. Judge Walsh set down the photograph. Go on. The Lighthouse property isn't just property. It's a designated safe site. Has been since 1967. The weather vane directions, the tide schedules, the lighthouse beam patterns, documented everything. Used photography to create a record that looked innocent but contained classified verification protocols. That's insane, Dad said loudly. She's making this up. Dad was a photographer, a hobbyist. Your father was Commander William Bennett, Naval Intelligence, retired 1989, I said, still looking at the judge. Service record classified, consulted for the DoD until 2003. Maintained security clearance until his death. How do you know that? Marcus asked. Because he told me, showed me, taught me. Morrison laughed. Actually, laughed. Your Honor. This is clearly a fantasy. She's claiming her grandfather was some kind of spy, not a spy. Intelligence officer. There's a difference. Judge Walsh leaned back. These are serious claims, Ms. Bennett. Do you have any proof beyond broken weather vanes and old photographs? I handed her the second photograph. Same lighthouse. Different angle. This one showed the beach at low tide. The rocks arranged in specific patterns, and written in the sand, barely visible. SC. The judge asked. Silver Coast, the designation for this particular safe site, one of 12 along the eastern seaboard. This is ridiculous, Patricia said. Your Honor, surely you can see she's mentally unwell. I'd be careful with that accusation, I said quietly, because in about 30 seconds, someone's going to knock on that door. Everyone stared at me. What door? Judge Walsh asked. The courtroom door. Someone's going to knock, and when they do, I'd suggest you listen to what they have to say. Morrison scoffed. She's completely knock. The bailiff jumped. Every head in the courtroom turned. Judge Walsh's eyes narrowed. Bailiff, see who that is. The bailiff opened the door. A man in a dark suit stepped inside. Mid-50s, government haircut, the kind of presence that screamed federal authority even before he opened his credentials. Apologies for the interruption, Your Honor. Agent Ross Carter, Naval Criminal Investigative Service. I need to speak with the court regarding case number 2020 4FC 8847, the estate of William Bennett. The courtroom erupted. Dad was on his feet. What the hell is this? Judge Walsh banged her gavel. Order, Mr. Carter. This is highly unusual, I understand, Your Honor. However, certain protocols were triggered when this case was filed. We've been monitoring the proceedings. Monitoring. Morrison's voice went up an octave. You can't just monitor a family court. We can, when the property in question is a designated federal safe site with active security clearances attached. He looked directly at me. Ms. Bennett. Silver Coast Protocol. Confirmed, I said. Weather vane northwest. Tide schedule Alpha. Lighthouse beam pattern 732. He nodded, turned to the judge. She's verified, Commander Bennett's designated successor for site security. Dad's face went from red to white. That's not possible. I'm his son. I'm his executor. You're the executor of his personal estate, Carter said. The Lighthouse property is held under separate federal trust, has been since 1967. Your father was the trustee. Ms. Bennett is the successor trustee, as of 6 months before his death. I don't believe this, Marcus said. This is some kind of trick. Carter pulled out a tablet, swiped through documents. Commander Bennett filed the succession paperwork last April. Listed Claire Marie Bennett as his designated replacement for property, oversight, security maintenance, and protocol management. Why her? Patricia demanded. Why not Robert? His actual son. Carter looked at her. Then, at me. Would you like to explain, Ms. Bennett? I pulled out another photograph. This one showed Grandpa and me on the lighthouse balcony. I was 17. He had his arm around my shoulders, and written on the back in his handwriting, the only one who listens. Because I paid attention, I said. When Grandpa told stories about his Navy days, I listened. When he showed me the lighthouse systems, I learned. When he taught me about the beam patterns and the tide schedules and why certain things had to be maintained exactly, so I remembered. I looked at Dad. You visited twice a year. Stayed for dinner, left after dessert. You never asked about the lighthouse, never asked about his work, never asked about anything except when you needed money. That's not fair, it's accurate. Marcus came even less. Patricia never came at all unless there was a holiday obligation. So he gave you everything out of spite. Morrison asked. Because you were the favorite. He gave me the lighthouse because I was the only one who understood what it actually was. Not just property. Not just real estate. A responsibility. A trust. Judge Walsh was reading something Carter had handed her. Her expression kept shifting. Surprise. Disbelief. Understanding. Your Honor, Morrison tried again. Even if this protocol thing is real, it doesn't change the will, the property value alone. The property has no value, Carter interrupted. Not to you. Not to Mr. Bennett. It's held in federal trust. Can't be sold. Can't be mortgaged. Can't be transferred except to cleared successors. The only thing the trustee receives is maintenance allowance and residence rights. How much maintenance allowance? Marcus asked immediately. Carter smiled. It wasn't friendly. Classified. You can't just classify. We can. We do. And did. He turned to Judge Walsh. Your Honor, NCIS formally requests this case be dismissed. The Lighthouse property is under federal jurisdiction. Family court has no authority over its disposition. Dad finally found his voice. This is insane. My father wouldn't have kept this from me, from his own son. He tried to tell you. I said quietly. 3 years ago, Christmas, you and Patricia were complaining about the property taxes on your house. How expensive everything was. How you'd need to sell some assets soon. Recognition flickered in Dad's eyes. Grandpa started talking about the Lighthouse, about the federal trust, about how some properties weren't meant to be sold. You cut him off, said you weren't interested in his old war stories, told him to stick to the will and keep the Lighthouse business simple. I don't remember. I do. I was sitting right there. He looked at me. And he knew that you'd try to sell it the second he died, turn it into condos or a resort or whatever would make the most money. So he cut me out of spite, Dad said bitterly. He protected something important because you wouldn't. Judge Walsh set down the documents. Mr. Carter, these papers appear legitimate. They are, Your Honor. And you reconfirming that Claire Bennett is the legal trustee of the Lighthouse property under federal authority? Yes, Your Honor. She looked at Morrison. Counselor, do you have any federal jurisdiction experts you'd like to consult? Morrison looked like she'd swallowed glass. No, Your Honor. Mr. Bennett, any objections that don't involve calling your daughter a liar? Dad's jaw worked. Patricia whispered something to him. He shook his head. No, Your Honor. Judge Walsh picked up her gavel. Then this case is... Wait, Marcus stood up. What about the rest of the estate? The boats? The car collection? The bank accounts? Those follow the will as written, Carter said, divided between Robert Bennett and his heirs. The Lighthouse was never part of that estate. Separata jurisdicción, always was. So she gets the property and we get nothing. You get exactly what Commander Bennett intended you to have, Carter said. His personal assets, substantial, I believe. Multiple boats, classic cars. Investment accounts, I'd estimate somewhere north of 2 million. Patricia's eyes widened. 2 million. Approximately. Maybe more. The Lighthouse Trust, that comes with residence rights and a maintenance stipend, and about 40 years of federal oversight, security requirements, and protocol management. He looked at me. Not exactly a vacation home, Ms. Bennett. I know what it is, I said. Good. Because someone from NCIS will be by next week to go over the updated protocols. Things have changed since your grandfather's time. I understand. He nodded, turned to Judge Walsh. Thank you for your patience. Your Honor. We'll file the formal jurisdiction papers by end of business. He left as abruptly as he'd arrived. The courtroom stayed silent for 10 seconds. Then Judge Walsh banged her gavel. Case dismissed. Federal jurisdiction confirmed. Mr. Bennett, Ms. Morrison, you'll receive copies of all relevant documents. Ms. Bennett, you're free to go. Thank you, Your Honor. I gathered my photographs, slid them carefully back into the folder. 43 pictures, 43 pieces of proof that Grandpa had known exactly what he was doing. Dad caught my arm as I walked past. You planned this. No, Grandpa planned this. I just showed up. The agent, timing. That was too perfect. NCIS monitors case filings involving federal properties. It's automatic. I just knew they'd come, eventually. You could have told me. Before court, saved us the embarrassment. You could have listened 3 years ago, or any time in the 30 years before that. I'm your father. And he was your father. You ignored what mattered to him. I didn't. Patricia appeared beside him. The money from the estate, the $2 million. We'll need to contest. You can't contest what was never contested, I said. That money's yours. The boats, the cars, everything he specifically left you? I don't want any of it. Then what do you want? Marcus asked. I looked at him, at all of Tim. 3 people I'd grown up beside who'd never really seen me, never asked the right questions, never looked deeper than surface level. I want the lighthouse. Primera, Said simply. That's all I've ever wanted. I walked out. Aunt Rachel was waiting in the hallway. She'd been in the courtroom, sitting quietly in the back. Dad's older sister, the one who'd actually stayed close to Grandpa. That was something, she said. Yay! Naval intelligence. I always wondered. You knew, suspected. Dad never talked about his Navy years. Not really. Not really. Lots of stories about people and places, but never any details. Never anything specific. She smiled. Classic intelligence officer behavior. Apparently. He was good at secrets. Except with you. He trusted me. We walked toward the parking lot together. Through the courthouse doors. Into October sunshine. Your father's going to be furious, she said. For a long time. I know. Patricia will push him to find some way to contest this. Federal jurisdiction or not. Let them try. NCIS isn't going anywhere. And you? You're really going to live there? Manage all those protocols. I looked at her. Did you think I wouldn't? Honestly? I wasn't sure. $2 million versus a maintenance stipend and federal oversight. Most people would take the money. Most people didn't spend their summers learning lighthouse beam patterns. She laughed. True. God, he loved teaching you that stuff. The codes, the signals. I thought it was just old man nostalgia. It was history. Active history. Still relevant. Is it? Really? Safe sites from the Cold War? I pulled out my phone, showed her the email I'd received 3 days ago. Official NCI's letterhead. Subject line. Protocol update required. Active status confirmed. She read it. Her eyes widened. They're still using these sites. Apparently, Grandpa said some infrastructure never stops being useful, just adapts. So you're actually going to be... what? A civilian security liaison? Something like that. Maintain the property. Monitor the systems. Report anomalies. Stay cleared. Sounds lonely. Sounds peaceful. She hugged me at her car. Your grandfather would be proud. You know that, right? I hope so. Not hope. No. He told me. Last time I saw him, 3 weeks before he died. Said you were the only one who understood what mattered. What did you say? I said I agreed. That you'd been the keeper's apprentice since you were 15. That if anyone could handle the responsibility, it was you. Thanks, Aunt Rachel. Thank him. He's the one who saw it. She drove away. I sat in my car, pulled out the photographs again. The one on top showed the lighthouse at night, beam cutting through darkness. Stars above. Ocean below, and written on the back, in Grandpa's shaky handwriting, this was from 2 weeks before he died. 4 words. You'll do fine, keeper? I pressed my forehead against the steering wheel. Let myself cry for the first time since Grandpa's funeral. Big, ugly sobs that shook my whole body. Not because I'd won. Not because Dad had lost. Because Grandpa had seen me mean, and trusted me with something that mattered. The lighthouse was exactly as I'd left it 3 weeks ago. Before the funeral, before the will reading, before everything exploded into lawyers and accusations and courtroom drama, I unlocked the keeper's cottage door. The smell hit me immediately. Salt air, old wood, coffee. Grandpa's smell. His mug was still on the kitchen counter, half-finished crossword beside it, reading glasses folded on top. I left them there, went upstairs to what used to be his office. Now mine, I supposed. Desk covered in charts, tide tables, weather patterns, lighthouse maintenance logs, going back 40 years, and on the wall, a framed photograph I'd taken when I was 16, Grandpa at the lighthouse lamp, adjusting the beam mechanism. Completely focused. Doing what he loved, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Ms. Bennett. This is Agent Carter. We met in court. I remember. Good. I wanted to follow up on next week's meeting. Tuesday at 10, work for you. That's fine. Excellent. We'll go over the updated protocols, security systems, communication channels, standard stuff. Understood. Pause. Ms. Bennett, yes? Your grandfather spoke very highly of you, said you were sharp, reliable, good under pressure. He was generous. He was accurate. What you did today, having those photographs ready, understanding the timing, staying calm when your family was falling apart, that's not luck. That's training? He taught me well. He did. Which is why I'm going to be honest with you. This isn't a part-time job. The lighthouse looks like a retirement hobby, but the protocols are real, active. We'll need regular reports, system checks, security verifications. I understand. Do you? Because there's $2 million sitting in an estate account with your name adjacent to it. You could walk away right now. Let us reassign the site. Take the money and live anywhere you want. I looked at Grandpa's photograph on the wall. Agent Carter, with respect, I don't want to be anywhere else. Silence. Then, good answer. See you Tuesday. He hung up. I spent the next hour walking through the lighthouse, checking systems, testing lights, confirming what I already knew. Everything was exactly as it should be. Grandpa had maintained this place perfectly until the day he died. Now it was my turn. I climbed to the lamp room, stood at the windows, watched the sun set over the ocean, waves rolling in. Endless, reliable. My phone buzzed. Text from Aunt Rachel. Aunt Rachel, your father's ranting to anyone who listen. Says you manipulated everyone. That the federal agent was fake. That you paid actors. He's spiraling. Me. Let him spiral. Aunt Rachel, Patricia's already talking about lawyers, investigating the trust, finding loopholes. Me. Won't find any. It's been federal property for 57 years. Aunt Rachel Marcus is telling people you're in a cult. That Grandpa brainwashed you. Me. Interesting theory. Aunt Rachel, you're remarkably calm about all this. Me. I learned from the best. Aunt Rachel. Grandpa. Me. Grandpa, she sent a heart emoji. I smiled. Down below, a car pulled up to the cottage. Rental plates. Dark sedan. Government standard. I went downstairs, opened the door before they knocked. 2 people. Man and woman. Both in business casual, both with that unmistakable federal agent bearing. Ms. Bennett, the woman said. I'm Agent Torres. This is Agent Kim. We're with NCIS Counterintelligence. Agent Carter sent us to do a preliminary security assessment. He said Tuesday. He did. We're here Saturday. Trust but verify. I stepped aside. Come in. They spent 90 minutes going through the lighthouse, checking systems, reviewing logs, asking questions about protocols I'd learned 10 years ago. Finally, Torres closed her laptop. You're thorough. Carter wasn't exaggerating. Thank you. Your grandfather kept excellent records. Equipment, maintenance, weather logs, security protocols, everything documented. He believed in documentation. So do we. She handed me a tablet. This is your official access. Communication portal. Incident reporting. Protocol updates. Encrypted. Your credentials are already loaded. I took it. Logged in. Everything was there. My name. My security clearance. My designation. Site trustee. Silver Coast Station. Welcome to the network, Kim said. You're one of 12 civilian trustees, managing safe sites along the coast. Monthly reporting requirements, quarterly security reviews, annual full assessments. Understood. Questions. The maintenance stipend. Agent Carter mentioned it. What's the actual amount? Torres smiled. $72,000 annually, plus equipment budget, plus residence allowance, plus security bonus for protocol compliance. I blinked. That's more than I make at my day job. You can quit your day job, Kim said. This is full-time. Grandpa did both because he was stubborn and Navy. You don't have to. I'm a teacher. You were a teacher. Now, you're a site trustee. Better benefits. Better job security. Much weirder water cooler conversations. I actually laughed. They left after sunset. Handed me 3 binders of updated protocols. Gave me their direct contact numbers. Told me to call any time, even 3 a.m., if anything seemed off. I locked the door behind them. Sat in Grandpa's chair. Opened the first binder. Halfway through page 12, my phone rang. Dad. I considered not answering, then figured he'd just keep calling. Hello. Hello. I know what you did. His voice was tight, controlled, dangerous. You manipulated Grandpa, convinced him to put you in charge. Probably told him lies about us. I told him nothing. He saw for himself. Bullshit! You poisoned him against his own son. You poisoned yourself. Every visit you cut short. Every conversation you dismissed. Every time you treated the lighthouse like an inconvenience instead of his life's work. It's a building, a piece of real estate. To you. Not to him, and definitely not to me. You don't deserve it. Maybe not, but he chose me anyway. Silence. The money, Dad said finally. The estate money, we're going to contest that too. Say you manipulated him. Undue influence. We'll get everything. Good luck. The will was witnessed by 3 people, signed by 2 lawyers. Notarize. Grandpa was evaluated by a doctor the week before. Sound mind. Full capacity. We'll find something. You won't. But you're welcome to spend $50,000 on lawyers trying. You smug little. I hung up, turned off my phone, sat in the silence of the lighthouse, the sound of waves outside, the creak of old wood, the hum of electrical systems maintaining protocols established before I was born. This was home now. Really home. Not the place I slept between teaching shifts. Not the apartment I shared with 2 roommates in town. Home. Home. I made coffee in Grandpa's ancient percolator. Took it up to the lamp room, watched the beam rotate. 732 pattern, exactly as it should be. On the beam mechanism, someone Grandpa had taped a note. I peeled it off carefully. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and you're where you belong. Maintain the lights. Trust the protocols. Remember, the best inheritance isn't money. It's purpose. You've got both now. Love, Grandpa. P.S. The coffee's better if you add a pinch of salt. Navy trick. I pressed the note to my chest. Let myself cry. Again. Softer this time. Grief mixed with gratitude. Then I went back downstairs. Added salt to my coffee. He was right. It was better. 6 months later, I was in the lamp room doing a routine maintenance check when my phone rang. Aunt Rachel? You need to see Facebook, she said without preamble. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I know. I'm sending you a screenshot. Just look. The image loaded. Dad's profile. A long post. Public. After months of legal consultation, we've decided to stop contesting Claire's inheritance. My father made his choice, however painful for his family. We respect that. We wish Claire well at the Lighthouse. She always was Dad's favorite. 347 sympathetic comments. Everyone feeling sorry for the abandoned son, the overlooked family. I sent the screenshot to Agent Torres with the caption, FYI. Drama update. She responded, let them think they're victims. Makes our job easier. How's the new radar system? Me? Installed, tested, running perfectly. Agent Torres, excellent. Quarterly review, next month. Keep up the good work. I went back to my maintenance checklist. Beam alignment, perfect. Backup generator, tested. Weather monitoring, active security systems, nominal. Everything exactly as it should be. Down in the cottage, I had dinner plans with Aunt Rachel. She'd started visiting every week. Said the lighthouse felt peaceful now. Said Grandpa would be happy to see it lived in. Maintained, loved. She was right. At sunset, I stood at the rail of the lamp gallery, watched the beam cut through dusk. Reliable, steady, purposeful. Dad got his money. Marcus got his boats. Patricia got her social media sympathy. I got the light. And every single night, I knew who won.